Hello and welcome to the next class in Management 386. You should be working on your assignment, Let's Be Entrepreneurs. What I'm looking for in this assignment is to see if you can take everything you've learned in class so far and apply it. I'm not looking for a specific format in the way that you present the information. I just want to know that you can choose one of the assignments, 1 through 4, and that you can think through all of the things you should do in order to get to the point to where you either start a business from scratch, that you buy an existing business, or you buy a franchise, or perhaps you enter into a business opportunity. This is your chance to show me that you can start at the beginning of the entrepreneurial model we've been talking about all semester and take it all the way through to the point where we are in class now. Now, to help you with that, I'm going to review just a little bit. And then today we're going to take it a little further and we're going to talk about Timon's model of entrepreneurship. And we're also going to talk about writing value propositions. So let's go back to sharing a screen and my wonderful skills with the digital whiteboard. Yes, I choked myself up when I said that because it's so untrue. And let's review where we are so far. And let's add to this model. Remember that I told you I teach my entrepreneurial model much like math class, where everything builds on itself. And we started at the beginning with let's get this going, with the individual. And we talked about the theory of bounded rationale, such that everything inside this circle is all of our knowledge and everything that we know. Let me get all my screen set up. And everything outside of this circle is uncertainty, right? We have learned to be really self-aware and to list all of our strengths and weaknesses. We've also learned how to build teams. And we know that to build a team, we should choose people whose information inside their bounded rationale complements ours, and also that their strengths complement our weaknesses, so that when we build the team, our collective knowledge is much larger. The larger that we can make the circle of collective knowledge, the more that we decrease uncertainty. And that is definitely one of our goals. Now, to add to building this team, we're in the entrepreneurial context now. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the people who should be on your A team in an entrepreneurial venture. And these people should be on your team from the beginning. You should always have 3 people on your team. You should have the banker, you should have a lawyer, and you should have an accountant. Always bring them in early. And this is for every entrepreneurial venture. The banker is the one who gets you money. Accountant is the one that tells you how to manage this or helps you manage the money, tells you when you need it, and helps you to keep everything straight with the IRS. And the attorney just keeps you out of jail, right? There's lots of different kinds of attorneys out there. There are some that are going to review contracts for you, which is really very important if you decide you want to buy a franchise. There are some out there that are good at helping you with the formation of your company, telling you what type of corporation should you choose, an S Corp, a C Corp, an LLC. There are lots of things that these people can answer for you that are not going to be your strength. They're going to be helping you. One of the things that I would suggest is that as you build your acquisition team, and we can call this acquisition A team. A doesn't really mean acquisition. For me, I call it my A team because I want an A+ team. But these 3 should always be on your acquisition team. And you need to make these people your friend, your close friend. The reason for this is, as an entrepreneur, you're not going to publicly talk about all of your weaknesses. We don't want to do that. However, for the people on your A team to be able to help you best, you need to be able to trust them and be vulnerable with them so that they understand and know your weaknesses. They can better help you if you're friends and you're trustworthy with them and they're trustworthy with you. Throughout our business career, my husband and I had the same banker, Joe. We have vacationed together. We have watched their kids grow up. They've watched ours grow up. And he knew our business and our financial dealings inside out. In all of our dealings, in our business life, my husband and I have always had the same accountant, the same accounting firm. They, once again, know our businesses inside out and can help us know where we're strong and where we're not. Additionally, the lawyer we have the same type of relationship with. So, big piece of advice for you there. Bring these people on early. Some are scared to because they're afraid to pay for it up front. I'm going to tell you, you can't afford to leave them out. It will pay off in multitudes as you grow your business. Now, if you decide to start to buy an existing business, yet there's one other person that you need to bring on, and that is a business broker. Now, businesses that are for sale don't typically advertise. Now, I know in the book it says go look in the classifieds, but I'm going to tell you from the book of Gina, don't do that. For me, it's a red flag every time if a business is advertising that it's for sale. You see, there's a lot that goes on when we announce that a business is for sale. The first thing that the public assumes immediately is that the business is in trouble. And when you do that, then you're going to lower the value of your business immediately. Maybe it is in trouble, maybe it's not. But you do not want to give the public the perception that the business is in trouble. The other thing that happens is if your employees find out the business is for sale, they're probably going to leave. They don't want the uncertainty of wondering what's going to happen to their job and to their livelihood after the business sells. So most of the time, businesses that are for sale, it's a really big secret, and it should be a big secret. So if we have to keep it a secret that our business is for sale, then how do we sell our businesses? By contacting a business broker. Now, the broker is the middleman, the person who knows what businesses are for sale. And if you're looking to buy a business, you would contact them to help you to find a business. They typically make around 10 to 15% of the sale price. That seems like it's expensive, but once again, you can't afford not to. This is one of those things that, again, it pays off in dividends down the road. So going back to building a team, you know how to build a great team. In an entrepreneurial endeavor, be sure that on your acquisition team, regardless of the type of form of business that you decide to choose, whether it's franchise, starting from scratch, buying existing business or opportunity, be sure that you include a banker, a lawyer, and an accountant. If you're buying an existing business, bring in a business broker. Okay, so let's take this just a bit further and keep talking. Now, we have talked about self-awareness, building a team, some more specifics here about types of people to bring onto your acquisition team in the beginning. We've also talked a lot about entrepreneurial awareness and how do we spot problems in the market that need to be solved. Businesses exist to solve a problem. How do you know what those are? Entrepreneurial awareness. And we make observations. After we make those observations, whether we see, hear, read about them, however we do it, then we use empathy. Empathy in order to actually talk about and define the real problems that the customers are feeling. Now, this is super important. Businesses don't solve observations. Businesses solve problems. So I stress with you about developing your empathy skills so that you can clearly identify the problem. Now, this gets us into the design thinking, which we've talked about in this class already. Oops, let's go back to black here. Design thinking, which is made up of 5 different stages. The first stage is empathy. As we can see here, this is where we're looking out into the market and trying to identify a problem to be solved, the real problem, and then we define the problem. So I want to talk to you about the problem and defining it, and we're going to take it a little bit further then about, well, what do we do with this information after we define the problem? I want to introduce you to Timon's model of entrepreneurship. Now, You know more about this model than you think you do already. You should have read the paper. But Timmons showed us that there are four major constructs in entrepreneurship. And the main takeaway here that we really should not forget is that Timmons tells us entrepreneurship is market driven. If it's market driven, this gets back to where we are right here. It is a problem the market wants solved. Problem the market wants solved. So he talks about the constructs in, and I can't remember which way he draws the circles. It's okay. But there are four major constructs in entrepreneurship. One is the opportunity. The opportunity is the problem that needs to be solved. He also talks about the team. You guys know now how to build the team. So you already know how to do two of the stages of Timmons' entrepreneurship model. He also talks about resources. Now, we'll talk more about resources as the semester goes on, but know that we'll have to identify whatever resources we need to bring in to make our venture successful. He also says that all three of these happen in the midst of uncertainty. Now, we've talked about uncertainty a lot, and we know uncertainty resides over here outside of our circle of knowledge, our bounded rationale. And we know that to decrease uncertainty even more, we need to build a really good team so that our collective knowledge is larger and reduces more of the uncertainty. So, like I said, you know more about Timmons' model of entrepreneurship than you think you do. It's just kind of bringing it all together for you now. In reading the article on Timmons' model of entrepreneurship, you'll notice that some of the discussion that he had on resources revolved around something called a lean startup. This is one way that we can minimize risk as we start a business. And what this means is that when we start a business, we should only do it, with adequate resources. Not all of them, just adequate. How much do you really have to do to get this business started? Now, one of the businesses I started was a bicycle shop. And in dreaming in my head of like what this retail space was going to look like, all of the bike brands I wanted to carry, all of the accessories I wanted to carry, how much inventory I wanted to have on hand, I had big dreams. But if I had jumped in with both feet and fulfilled all of my big dreams at once, it would have cost me a fortune. And I didn't know how quickly my inventory would turn over. So going back to lean startup, only start with the bare minimum that you have to. This means that you have put less money at risk, and it allows you to be more flexible as you learn from the market what they truly value. Excuse me, I'm getting a tickle. And being flexible and learning from the market is key in truly solving their problems. So just start with adequate resources. Do a lean startup. And then as you grow the business and the business becomes profitable, then use the money from your profits to invest back into the business to grow it. This is called bootstrapping. Now, using the lean startup method and bootstrapping, as I said, helps to reduce risk, and it helps you to be more flexible as you grow your business. A lot to take in, but it's all really tying together. All of this really goes together. So let's talk some more over here. Let's go back to empathy and define. So if we really need to know what the opportunity is, then we bring in design thinking here. We need to be able to define the problem. Well, what does it mean to define the problem? We need to be able to articulate what pains the customer is feeling. And we need to be able to articulate the gains that they would rather have. And that's how we solve problems in business. What pains do the customers want to go away? What gains do they want to receive? And this is also the define portion inside the design thinking process. So once we list all of this out and write out the pains they want to go away and the gains they want, we are now finally ready to start filling in that business canvas. How about that? I introduced it to you at the beginning of the semester, and now it's time to really start filling it in. We're going to start with the first two squares to fill in, which is here in the center, which is the value proposition, and over here, the customer segments. Excuse me, customer segments. We'll start there. So let's get back over here to where we've been in this semester. And we know that we identified problems and we defined it. Moving to the next stage is ideate. And this is where we thought of lots of ideas for possible solutions. We needed to vet those ideas to see which one was the most promising entrepreneurial opportunity. And in order to do that, we ran our ideas through the Market Opportunity Navigator. And by the time we finished with the Market Opportunity Navigator, we should know which idea was the best opportunity, and we should also know which customer segments to pursue first. The Market Opportunity Navigator helps us to unmarry from our original ideas and the original customer segments we had in mind. And it helps us to pursue the most promising opportunities and the most promising customer segments. So you know how to do everything now from the beginning, being self-aware, to working all the way through the Market Opportunity Navigator to identify your opportunity that you want to pursue and your customer segments. Now that we've done that, like I said, we can get back over here and now we can start to fill in the business canvas. So customer segments from Market Opportunity Navigator, we would list here. And from there, we need to write a value proposition. Now, on the readings, you know that a value proposition is a statement written for the customer, to the customer. So you can't start writing your value proposition until you know who your customers are, if that's who you're writing it for. So this is the number one thing to fill in on your business canvas. Value proposition is number two. So how do we do that? A value proposition is a statement that tells the customers why they should choose your product or service over any other product or service out there that could solve their problem. Why you? Why you? And so how do we know what to write? Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need to list all of the strengths of our product and or service. So let's list them out. What are our strengths? After we list our strengths, and you'll see that in the readings, I've provided a business canvas, a value proposition canvas for you to start using to list this out, to organize yourself, but list the strengths. And then look back over here at what we've done with define, where we had pains and gains that the customer wants to either get rid of or gain. Whatever strength this is, then tell me, what pain does that reduce for the customer? And what gain does it give them? For the second strength you've listed, what pain does it relieve? What gain do they create? And you need to do this for every strength you listed. After you've completed this chart in the the value proposition canvas, then go over and rank the strengths in order of importance for the customer. Perhaps this one we're going to say is most important for the customer. It relieves more of the pain and gives them more gain. So we're going to rank that one number one. Maybe number two is this strength. It's second in the amount of pain it relieves and the gain it creates. 3, 4, so forth, and rank them in order of priority. After you've done this, then you can take this information and use it to write a couple of sentences, a statement, the shorter the better, that tells the customer why they should choose your product over any other product that exists that could solve the problem. Your next assignment is going to give you some practice in writing a value proposition. Now, remember earlier in the semester when you did your strengths and weaknesses analysis for yourself, and I asked you to hold on to that information because you're going to need it later? This is when you need it. You're going to write a personal value proposition. What I want you to do is pick a company that you would love to interview with and for a job that you would love to have. This can be real or it can be made up, whatever it is that you want. And I want you to go back to the strengths and weaknesses that you listed, and I want you to list your personal strengths. What are they? And then you're going to have to do a little bit of homework on the company that you're going to interview with. You should be doing homework on the companies anyway before you interview with them. And try to figure out what problems do they solve for the market and what problem do they need their employees to solve for them as a company. Do a little bit of homework and see what you can find out. And after you do this, I want you to look at your personal strengths and then tell us what pain you can relieve for the company when they hire you and what gain you can give them. Do this for every strength that you listed. What pain can you relieve for the company? What gain can you give them? And again, I want you to rank those in order of priority. Then I want you to write your personal value proposition. Because when you interview for a company, there's like the one question out there that you hear in more times than not when you interview. And that is, why should I hire you instead of all the other applicants that I'm going to see for this job? And if you don't have a personal value proposition written to give them, to tell them why they should hire you, then guess what? They're not going to hire you. So this weekend, what I'd like for you to do is look on the website. I've listed the instructions for you for your personal value proposition. I would like for you to practice writing a value proposition by doing it for yourself. This is going to be something that's very valuable for you as you finish up your degree and you start looking for a job or you start your own entrepreneurial venture. You're going to notice that once you get further into the entrepreneurship realm, that you'll learn to start pitching. And one of the major components of a successful pitch is answering the question of why you? Why should investors believe in you? So once again, the value proposition is inserted into pitches. It could be, why should I believe in you? Or we'll take it a step further as we get into the semester and help you write a value proposition for a company and or a product. So as you do this, like I said, this is something I want to give you practice in writing a value proposition. But this is something that is super beneficial for you. So please take this exercise really seriously and do your best to write a great one. If you have, as always, any questions, let me get back to my Zoom here and stop screen sharing. There we go. As always, if you have any questions, email me, let me know. I look forward to receiving your assignments tomorrow where you finish up Let's Be Entrepreneurs, where I'm seeing if you can take what we've learned so far and put it into practice and tell me how you thought through everything to choose your opportunity and why you chose 1, 2, or 3, or 4. Which one of the assignments? Why did you choose that one to take it to market? After we do that next week, we'll talk a little bit more about the cards we're dealt and how to play them. And I also look forward to next week seeing your personal value propositions. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to talking with you again next week. Goodbye.